Hello there guys, and welcome to another Forza Horizon 5 video on my channel. So we are currently in the winter dry season of Series 30, which is the third week of the series, and that means that I am back with another full festival playlist walkthrough for you all. We'll be going through all of the challenges, and it'll contain all you need to know in relation to this week's challenges and events. So that's all of my tips and tricks. For each and every individual event across the whole of the playlist. We've got the visual demonstrations for the PR stunts, and of course not forgetting my suggested cars and tunes which I'll be giving out for each of the challenges to hopefully help you on your way to completion. So for those of you who are new here, thank you for joining the SG community. And before we get started, I will say do not hesitate to like and subscribe if you do enjoy what I do here on the channel. It is greatly appreciated. And if you do have any additional questions, don't hesitate to contact me in the comments on Xbox or on Discord. And I'll be happy to help you out as usual with anything that you've got to ask about the festival playlist, any other general queries about videos and what have you. I am here to help you out. So if you are one of those new people, I'll inform you that we'll be starting with the series and seasonal rewards, which we'll do in just a second, and that's just so you know what you're aiming for when you complete all of these challenges that we'll be going through. And of course, as I said last week, and as I've probably said in the past, obviously if you are a regular viewer you'll know exactly how these videos are going to work, but we'll make sure that we cover everything for those of you who are new here. So starting off with the seasonal rewards, we have had 20 points and our 40 point rewards as usual, and there are a total of 75 points available in the whole of the series. So these rewards are either new exclusives with the current update, they're exclusives that are reappearing from other updates, or they're other hard to obtain vehicles that are highly sought after by the community. So the same goes for the series rewards as well, they are, and the same theory applies to them. So the first of the seasonal rewards this week, and that should theoretically take you around half an hour, is the Hyundai i30N. So this is a car that was spotted in one of the game files when the game first released over two years ago now, so knocking on 2.5 years ago. It turns out that we ended up just with the Veloster N from 2019, but finally 2.5 years later we have the i30N. So that is an exclusive that is included within this update. The first time you'll be able to unlock it, and it'll probably reappear in a few months again. And then for 40 points we have the Unicorn version 2 there, another hard to find exclusive vehicle, and that should probably take you between 3/4 of an hour and an hour. So moving over to our series rewards, there are 300 points for the whole of the series for the Lunar New Year update. So you may have already unlocked the first reward, the 80 point reward, and that is the Hyundai Ioniq 6 from 2022, an electric car, the first of 2 electric cars here in this series rewards here. So that is brand new for this update, and then returning from one of the first series of Forza Horizon 5, I think it might have been series 4 or something like that, we have the Neo EP9, another Chinese electric hypercar there, and like I said, an exclusive there. So you may have unlocked the Ioniq already, you may have even unlocked the Neo already, but if you haven't, stay to the end of the video. We'll go through all the challenges in the Winter Festival playlist, and hopefully we'll be able to get some of them points to work towards some of them series rewards, and of course you've got your seasonal rewards which we've already gone through. So we'll now move on to our first section, which will be the Forzathon events section, and we'll get cracking with the Winter Festival playlist events. Okay, so as I said, moving on to our first section, and of course we will be covering this festival playlist in chronological order as we always do. So we will start off with the Forzathon events section, and that covers a weekly challenge. It covers 7 daily challenges that release across the week, and we've got a Horizon Forzathon shop where you can spend all of your hard-earned Forzathon points. So to start then, we have this week's weekly Forzathon challenge, Huni Truck. Completing this will get you 5 points towards your reward cars and also some Forzathon points. That will be 80 Forzathon points as standard, and that will double to 160 if you own the La Casa Solariga player house. That house comes free with the VIP pass, and it gives you double Forzathon points in every Forzathon related event, including Horizon Arcade, where Forzathon points are your reward for completing each round. So I certainly recommend that you purchase this house and get that extra boost when you're completing those events with the Forzathon point reward. Now it is important to note as well that the car mentioned in chapter 1 is required for all of the chapters in the weekly challenge. unless it states otherwise, or unless there's an option between the cars. In this case, this week, there is only one car that you're able to use, but do make sure that you do use it for all of the events. So speaking of, this week's challenge is based on the 1977 Hoonigan Gymkhana 10 Ford F-150 Hoonie truck, which you'll need to own and drive for the primary chapter of this event. Now, you may wish to download the tune for this, and that is obviously only an option unless the event states otherwise. In most cases, tuning is optional, and I would recommend it if you want to get these challenges done quicker and easier, and I guarantee any tune will be of benefit. So if you wish to download my tune, I have created one as usual, and it's shared under my gamertag Shylo 2017, so feel free to search that up, apply it to your car, and then you can move on to the subsequent chapters. Of course, you could also create your own tune. You can download somebody else's tune. My tunes are only there if you wish to use them, just because I create them for the benefit of my followers who maybe aren't experienced with tuning and just want a simple tune to get it completed. So then, once you are in your Hoonigan F-150 Hoonie truck and have applied your tune, if you've chosen to do so, you may proceed to Chapter 2, which is called Hoonigan Slide. So all you need to do for this one is earn a drift tap skill in your Hoonigan F-150. So a drift tap skill is basically when you slide around a corner and you kind of clip the wall or something when you're going around the corner, so it's not like smacking into it, so you won't lose your skill chain by doing it, and equally you do have to actually touch the object, so you'd probably more easily be able to do this in a race event. So if you enter a race event and when you're going around one of the corners, tap the handbrake, slide the car and try to tap the wall. It can be quite hard, but obviously you're not supposed to just smack straight into it at 100 miles an hour face on, or in reverse or whatever. It has to be kind of a slide and clipping the wall, or touching the wall as you go around the corner. And that is how you get your drift tap skill. So if you do need any further assistance with that, I can record a video of me doing it and help you out if you want to. So as I mentioned at the start of the video, you can contact me and I'll be more than happy to help you out with that, because I know it might be a difficult one for people who are new to the game, perhaps not very fond of drifting. I do understand that. Obviously having an all-wheel drive tune as well. Now, as it happens, this car is all-wheel drive stock, and my tune is also all-wheel drive. That will definitely help you, because you're more unlikely to spin out when you've got an all-wheel drive tune, which will help you to perfect that drift tap skill. So once you have done that, you can move on to Chapter 3, Climb Kana 2, and that wants you to win the Vulcan Sprint. Now, that is a road racing event, and it can be found at the bottom of the volcano on the road side. So where the two paths wind up the volcano, you're looking for the one that's on the road with the white lines rather than the red lines. So that's on the east side of the volcano there. And if you go to the bottom, you'll see the Vulcan Sprint. It's a road race. All you need to do is enter that and win it. So obviously you have to finish first. That's what it means by winning. But there's no requirement for you to have it on any specific difficulty. So you can lower the difficulty when you enter the event to tourist. So your driver tiles will be really, really slow, and it'll pretty much almost guarantee that you win that event. And once you've done that, to round off the weekly challenge for the winter season, Chapter 4, number 43, wants you to bank 43,000 skill score in your Hoonie truck. Obviously that is homage to the late Ken Block there, with his number 43, which he had on the side of all of his cars. So 43,000 skill score, very, very easy. Just drift around, hit some destructible objects, lampposts, fences, bits of grass and cacti and all of that. Keep the skill chain going. You'll have it in no time at all. It doesn't say that it has to be a total, so you might have to do it in one skill chain, or it could be multiple skill chains. However, it should be fairly simple if you keep that skill chain going with drifts and wreckage skills and stuff like that. So once you've done that, you'll have 5 points, a bunch of Forzathon points, and a golden thumbnail for the event when you've completed it. Okay then, so following on from our weekly challenge, we have 7 daily challenges to look at. Now, I usually don't spend too much time on these. They're usually fairly self-explanatory, but the way they work is one will release each day and they last for 7 days each. That means that 6 of them will overlap into the spring season, because obviously they last for 7 days each, and the season is only 7 days long itself, so only the first one will need to be completed by the time the spring season comes along. So I usually use them as a way of getting a couple of extra points for my 40-point reward, because that's usually my cut-off point for the season. So if you If you need a couple of extra points, you may wish to do these in batches, so maybe you don't want to force yourself to come on just to do the daily challenge every day. You may wish to just do them in batches, and like I said, they're fairly self-explanatory, shouldn't need to spend too much time on them. However, if you are having any difficulty at all, again, just contact me and I'll be more than happy to explain things, give you some tunes, help you out with other advice. Whatever you need to get these challenges completed, I'll be more than happy to do for you. And then finally, we have the Horizon Forzathon shop. So in here this week, we have the Koenigsegg 1 from 2015, the 1-to-1, for 750 Forzathon points. Then we have the car that you need for the weekly challenge, the F-150 Hunitruck for 400 Forzathon points. So if you don't want to buy that in the auto show, you can buy it here for 400 Forzathon points. We have some shades, a raw remote, and the usual wheel spins and super wheel spins. So out of all of those, the car that you probably want to buy most is the F-150. However, you may also wish to spend those Forzathon points on the Koenigsegg. Okay, following on from our first section, Forzathon events, we have the seasonal events section, and that covers the trial, 3 times EventLabs, seasonal playground games, 3 seasonal PR stunts, which happen to be all danger signs, and 2 seasonal championships. So let's get cracking, and as always, we'll start with the trial. Okay then, so for those of you who don't know, the way the trial works revolves around a co-op team system. So you're part of a team of up to 6 players, and it usually is 6 players, and they are typically random players selected from around the world, unless of course you're part of a convoy. And if you are part of a convoy, that can only be up to 6 people when entering this event, because the usual convoy maximum of 12 will not be eligible because the team can only be up to 6 players. So your team basically is trying to defeat the opposing team, which is a team of 6 driver tires, and they are set to unbeatable difficulty. In order to do this, you must rack up points, and you do that by overtaking the driver tires' vehicles. However, do note that they also get points for overtaking you and your teammates, so it requires a team effort in order to win in a best of 3 set of races. So try not to ram your teammates. Feel free to try and ram the right driver tires, although they do seem to be quite stubborn when it comes to ramming them off the road. They seem to have some resistance to that, but of course you're not actually racing your teammates, you're racing with them to beat the driver tires. So for the event itself, this week's trial is called Saddle Up. It'll get you a huge 10 points towards your seasonal reward cards, and it'll also get you the event completion reward of the number 13 Ford Mustang pictured at the front of that thumbnail there, drift car. So as I mentioned in the intro, I'll be offering car and tune suggestions for each event we go through. So let's head over to my garage, see what I've got, but of course we'll first look at the restriction. So the restriction for this one is B-Class Ford Mustang. Now this is quite interesting because it's actually on dirt racing, so you're probably wondering why the hell you would have Ford Mustangs on dirt racing. I would agree. And interestingly, when you actually go over to the event on the map, which I'll do here, it's very clearly a dirt race, as you can see by the marked route in blue there, and La Selva Scramble is a dirt race. However, it says underneath there on the second line, Road Racing Series. It isn't road racing, so don't make the mistake of picking a car that you've tuned for the road. Make sure it is for the dirt, and of course I've got my car, which you'll be able to use if you so wish to do so. But yes, the developers have made a bit of a mistake there, which is quite typical. So let's head over to my garage and see the car that I've got for this one. Okay, so as you might expect, I didn't have too many cars tuned for B700 Ford Mustangs on dirt, so I have actually had to tune one specifically for this event. So I've chosen to go with the 1965 Ford Mustang GT Coupe. Now there's a couple of cars I could have gone with. I could have gone with the GT2 Plus 2, that's the orange one. I did contemplate going for that, but then when I looked at it, this was right at the top of D-Class, but it was really light. It's actually heavier now than it was when it was stock, but it was much lighter than the 2 Plus 2 fastback, so I thought I would go with this one. So I've all-wheel drive swapped it. I've put the 6.2 litre V8 in because I thought quite a lot of power, and it's also it's more efficient than the old 4.7 litre engine. So 415 horsepower. It's got plenty of grip. I've put off-road race tyres on it, so I've focused it more on grip. I've got the rear wing as well for a bit of extra aero, so it isn't too fast on the straights. I also couldn't get brakes on, which is a big no-no usually for me, because I prefer driving cars with race brakes. But because of the extra grip, because of the tyres, especially when you're off-road, it shouldn't be too bad when you holding on the brakes there. And the handling doesn't seem too good here, but the grip of the off-road race tyres will definitely benefit you. So that's my tune, and it's shared under my gamertag. Okay then, so now we have a set of EventLabs, community chosen EventLabs that the developers have selected to feature here. So this week we've got 3 of them to look at. So we'll get started, and let's hope that they're a good selection. Now I certainly would feel that the first one would be a good event, because it is from the legendary Don Joe song. Now I think this is the 3rd week in a row that he's been featured, because the developers have featured his Utopia saga. As you can see at the bottom of the description there, this is chapter 3, so we've had chapters 1 and 2. So it's all to do with the idea of the Utopia gardens that Don made, and this is Arcadia, so this is a new version, kind of an arcade version. So last week we had the like the ruins, and then the first week we had the original one. So this will get you 3 points towards the playlist. It'll also get you a super wheel spin, and the restriction for this 3rd event from Don is S1 class track toys. So let's head over to my garage, see what I've got in my favourites. Right then, so for this one I've actually got 7 suggestions. It appears that this is one of my most tuned categories, so it's probably because it's appeared quite a few times in the festival playlist. We actually start off with a car that's not tuned by me, and the design is also from the same guy. It is Andrew9565, that's his gamer tag, and it is Dobra, one of my channel moderators, an absolute legend. He always does the timestamps for me in every video, so you'll see that I update the description with them after he's sent me them. Just a general really nice guy, and really talented with his designs and tunes as well. So this is on the 2016 Dodge Viper ACR. It's a purist build, so if you are a purist driver and you like these builds, then it's really nice to drive, that one. Then back to cars that are tuned by me, we have the Ford Supervan 3. This one's all-wheel drive, really nice to drive. Then we have a car that I built near the start of the game, actually one of the first tunes in this game, for the Shelby GT350R Ford Mustang. So again, all-wheel drive, nice and grippy, and really good launch and acceleration. Moving over here, we have the Lotus 311, which I tuned for one of the Forzathon weekly events in one of my videos. So you probably have seen that before if you've been watching my videos recently. Then we have 2 McLarens. We have one from Car Pass, which is the 620R, a purist build, and then another purist build on the 765 LT. They're both by me. So that one's probably better if you don't own the Car Pass. And then finally over here we have it on the 2021 Porsche 911 GT3. This has appeared in the festival playlist a few times now, so even though it's an exclusive, you will have had a good chance at unlocking that. And that's another purist build from me. However, it's also fairly easy to drive considering it's rear wheel drive, so that will probably be alright for most of you as well. Okay, so our next event lab comes from Unworthy Pleb, and it is Hilltop Scramble, a compact and technical closed track dirt circuit with lots of props and decorations. It will get you 3 points and a Creative Tee clothing reward, not that anybody really wants that. And the restriction for this one, it actually incorporates 2 filters. It is B-Class Classic Rally and B-Class Retro Rally. So let's head over to my garage once again. Now, unbelievably, I've managed to top the 7 from the last event lab, and for this one I've actually got 8, but of course we have been helped out by the fact that there is 2 restrictions. Technically they're the Classic and the Retro Rally. So the first one, again, comes from Dobra, the tune and the design on the 1983 Audi Sport Quattro. Then we have the 1973 Ford Escort RS 1600 and the 1967 Ford Racing Escort Mark I. So they're 2 very similar cars, both built by me. Then moving over here, right over here, keep going, we have the Mitsubishi Lancer from 1999, that is the Evo 6. We have also the Evo 10 from 2008. And then over here we have a couple of Subarus, the 1990 Subaru Legacy RS. Now that one's tuned by me, but if you are searching it up, make sure you pick the B-Class one and not the C-Class one, because I do also have a C-Class tune for that car. And then we have the legendary Subaru 22B there. That is a really solid car, that one. And to wrap up, we have the Volvo 242 Turbo. Now this is a tune that I accidentally made when the restriction was C-Class Classic Rally, and I made it into B-Class, so I've now got one in C-Class and B-Class, which came of benefit here. The third and final event lab of the week comes from Gabrielle Sayel. It is Otoribashi 1v1. Apologies for butchering the pronunciation of that event. It will get you 3 points towards your playlist rewards. A 2012 Nissan GTR, which I've driven in real life, fun fact there. And the restriction for this one is quite a broad one. It is B-Class Country Japan. So let's head over to my garage and see what Japanese cars I have got for you for this final event lab. Okay then, so obviously a more broad category again, which means I've got quite a few suggestions. However, we have seen a couple of them in that last event and the one before. So the ones that you haven't seen are the 1997 Mazda RX-7. That is a really, really solid car in my opinion. Then we also have the Nissan 370Z from 2010. That's a bit of a purist build there with rear wheel drive. However, it's also very fun to drive. We have the 2003 Nissan Fairlady Z, also known as the 350Z. That is my take with rear-wheel drive drag tyres and the Big Country Labs rear wing. Again, a purist build, but very, very fun to drive once again. And then the other edition, we have the 2005 Subaru Impreza WRX STI. We have the Honda S2000 from 2003, a purist build again. And we have my front-wheel drive rally-tired Honda Civic Type R, which I couldn't really do much with because I only had one PI to work with, but this is a very, very fun car to drive nonetheless. Up next then, for the first time in quite a while, and I'm quite glad to see another one, is the seasonal playground games. So this one is called Running Laps. It will get you 3 points towards your festival playlist and a Forza Link reward called Special Delivery. So the way that playground games works is obviously based on the playground games event that you can enter in free roam. It's basically 2 teams of players, so no driver tires involved, and there's a set of games, King, Zombie, like Survival, and Flag Rush. And you rotate through the games. You know, one team has one turn, and the other team, reverse the roles. And it's just a bit of fun, really. And a common misconception with this is actually people end up quitting because their team is losing. However, you don't need to do that because, interestingly, and quite, thankfully for some people probably that are always on the losing team, you actually get the reward even if your team finishes second, so it's just a bit of fun. However, I would recommend that you do stay till the end, obviously, because then you get your reward. And it's just a bit of fun to try to try to have a bit of fun when you're doing these. So the restriction for this one is A-Class David versus Goliath, and that's not a filter you can apply in your garage. Shout out to Playground Games. Why don't you just add these filters to the garage? These Horizon specials. Why don't you just add them to the garage? It'd be much more simple. But what I did was created a blueprint, filtered it to David and Goliath, and then saw all of the cars in all of the classes, so not just A-Class. And that enabled me to pick out all the cars that I think will be eligible for this one. So I'll head over to my garage and hopefully all of my suggestions will be eligible once they are tuned to the right class. Okay then, so it's not all of the cars that I've got tuned to A-Class, however it is the vast majority of them. So we've got the 2011 Ford Transit, we've got the 2019 Hennessy Velociraptor. That's more of a comic build if you want to be a bit of a comic in playground games. Once again, if you want to be a bit of fun, the Mercedes-Benz Unimog, highly likely to flip over on its side at least 10 times. We have the Myers Manx. That's a really nippy car, so that'll probably be quite good if you're trying to evade people. We've got the RJ Anderson. Now that one, that tune isn't by me, so I'll try and remember to post the gamer tag of the creator of that tune in the description. I'll note that down. We've got the Sierra RX3. We have the VW Golf GTI from 1992. That's the Mark II version. Bit of a cruise build there, but still, you may as well use it if you want to. And then the Wuling isn't part of it. So they are all my suggestions, and hopefully all of them fall under the category of David versus Goliath when they're obviously tuned into A-Class. Following on from our seasonal playground games, we now have some seasonal PR stunts. So I would say that my regular viewers probably do enjoy this section because as I mentioned at the start, it's a visual demonstration. You get to see me possibly fail the events because I always show my first run, and then obviously I'll show the run where I actually complete it as well. But there is high possibility that I do fail these events, and I have done various times in the past, which has been featured in the video. Viewers probably do enjoy watching me fail, and that's why I include it for the laughs in these guides. Like I said, I usually include some clips of me completing the stunts after we've been through what we need to do. jumping straight into what is required for these stunts. So there's 3 of them this week. As I mentioned, they're all danger signs, and it'll get you 2 points for each of them, and also a super wheel spin for each of them as well. So our events this week are the Cascadas danger sign, the Cannonball danger sign, and the Ridge Crest danger sign. So we'll quickly check out the restriction. I'll give you my cars in my garage, and then I'll attempt them, include some short clips, so you can see how I approach and possibly fail these stunts. So our restriction for this week's stunts is B-Class Hyundai. Now you probably noticed that I've been in the Hyundai Veloster the whole time while I've been recording this video, and that is the car that I will be using for these events, because I don't want to use any exclusives if I can help it. So I don't really want to use the Hyundai Kona that was in somewhere, or the Ioniq 6, which was for 80 points in the series, and of course I don't really want to use the i30N either from this week. So I've gone with the Veloster N, which of course we've had since the start of the game. It's in the auto show, and the tune is shared under my gamer tag. It is front wheel drive, it's on drag tyres. You might be thinking it's a bit funky, however I did that deliberately so that you've got plenty of power, because you'll need to build up quite a lot of speed to be able to complete these danger signs. So I thought it'd be best to approach it from that angle, if you get what I mean, with the tuning. That is my suggested car for the restriction. Obviously bearing in mind that it isn't a race event, like I said, it should be fairly suitable. So I'll now roll the clips and see where that takes us. Okay, so moving away from the PR Stunts, which you've just watched me complete, we have 2 seasonal championships to attack this week. So these can be completed either in solo or co-op mode, although if you're completing them with a convoy, I'd try to avoid the PvP option, because that means that only one of you will receive the award because you're racing against each other, rather than in the co-op where it works in the same way as the trial and you're working as a team. So playing solo will mean that you'll spawn back into free mode after each event. That can be a bit confusing because some people probably think it's chucked them out of the championship, but what you actually have to do is drive or fast travel to each of the other events, and they'll be marked on your map in a white and red colour. So when you enter the championship, it'll mark out the 3 races. So where it's like the red seasonal championship icon that you can see at the top right of these here, it'll turn to white, and they're the ones that you know are in your current championship. So you need to complete all 3 of them in order to have completed the championship. And if you're doing it in co-op, that'll automatically fast travel you and your teammates, so it works in the same way as the trial, as I've said before. So these championships should be locked to highly skilled driver tires, though, as opposed to unbeatable in the trial, so it should be a little bit easier for you. Okay, so this week's first seasonal championship is called Fine China. It will get you 5 points towards your festival playlist rewards, and also a Lotus Exige S. So it's based on street racing with all the AI cars and annoying checkpoint flares. And the restriction for this one is, as the name suggests, A-Class China. So you know exactly where we're heading now, over to my garage to see what favoured cars I've got for you. So obviously we haven't got a great deal of Chinese cars in the game, although they have been adding quite a few recently, and obviously with the addition of the Chinese Lucky Stars car pack we do have a few more to look at, but I've chosen ones that are hopefully relatively easy for you to unlock. I mean, they are all exclusives, but unfortunately with the Chinese cars there isn't really much I can do about that, because there's literally none in the auto show, and none that are really suitable for this class. But we do have the return of the Lincoln course, so they obviously were using the PR Stunts last week, so we've got the touring car version, the Cyan Racing, so that one is stock, 800 front wheel drive, so that one's, I haven't done anything to that one. However, the standard Lincoln Co 03 Plus from 2021, I've put the wide body on it, so I've made it into a similar car to the Cyan Racing, although it is all-wheel drive. It's got a tad less horsepower, but they're pretty much almost the same. And then also I have the 2013 Wuling Sunshine. Most of you will be very familiar with that car, so that car's got the wide body on it. So the tune that I've got applied is one with some massive 7-litre V8, I think, 600 horsepower all-wheel drive. Although I do believe that I have a few tunes shared for that one, so you may wish to take a look at all the tunes that I've got shared and take your pick, but probably that one is the best one for you for this event. The second and final seasonal championship of the winter season, and to round off the seasonal events section, is Year of the Volkswagen, which will get you 5 points, and a Hyundai Veloster N, which of course we've mentioned in relation to the PR Stunts. That's the car that I've used for the PR Stunts. So this one's based on road racing, and the restriction for this one is C-Class Volkswagen. So let's turn over to my garage once again. Just the two tunes for you to suggest for this one, although both the cars are quite cheap, so very accessible, and hopefully they'll be fairly simple to drive as well. They are both front wheel drive though, so they may be slightly iffy on the launch and a bit of understeer, but hopefully they'll be fairly solid. So we've got the 1995 Volkswagen Corrado, and we've got the 1998 Volkswagen GTI Mark III there. So again, both front wheel drive, both running very similar horsepower and weight as well, so hopefully they'll be alright for you. Both tunes are shared under my gamer tag. Right then, so that wraps up our second section, seasonal events. Obviously that one is the longest section of the festival playlist, and that means that we can now progress over to our third section, which is the challenges section. Obviously you can note that these latter sections, although it may seem that we're only 2/5 of the way through, we've still got 3 sections left, although these are much shorter, much simpler, and hopefully you'll be able to complete them a lot much quicker. So cracking on, this challenges section this week covers a photo challenge, we've got a Horizon Open challenge, and we've got a Collectibles challenge. So of course we will start with the photo challenge. So then, the first event of the challenges section, as I've just mentioned, is the photo challenge. So it's rather simple, and hopefully you'll be able to complete it nice and easily. So this week's photo challenge is called #KillAllTyres, and it will get you 2 points and a Forza link reward of time to hoon. So all it wants you to do is take a photo of any hoonigan. There's no specified place for this one, so simply you just need to get in any hoonigan, the RS200, the Hoonicorn, the Escort, whatever you want to get in, and simply just take a photo. Open up photo mode, take a photo wherever you are, and hopefully that should complete it with no issues. Of course, you may wish to, make it a bit more exciting. You may wish to actually pick a nice location. However, for the challenge, you don't necessarily need to do that. So if you want to just get it done, get in your Hoonigan, open up photo mode, and it will be done. So you'll get your nice golden sticker, your golden tick when you complete it in photo mode, and when you back out of photo mode, back into free roam, you should have a nice completion message at the bottom of your screen. Next in line for our challenges section is the Horizon Open Challenge, which this week is called Catch My Drift. It will get you 2 points towards your playlist and a number 43 Dodge Viper, so that's the not the one pictured in the photo there, but that's the one I believe that is kind of bluey purple, one of the OP ones that people tend to use for points drifting. So this Horizon Open Drift Challenge simply wants you to complete any Horizon Open drifting event. So very, very simple. You don't need to win it, you don't need to do it in any specific car, in any specific class. So what you need to do, head over to your pause menu, over to the online tab, click on Horizon Open, then click on Horizon Open Drifting, and it will find you a session. Enter that session, complete however many rounds there are to that session, and then once it loads up the next session you can back out, back into free roam, and it should be completed. So you may be lucky, because sometimes you spawn in the last race of the session, and you may only have to do one, and then it might complete that as the whole session, or you may end up having to do all 3 events. However, they're only about 5 minutes long or 3 minutes long each, so just have a bit of drift around. You don't need to win or anything, you don't need to be particularly competitive, and once you've completed that, again, you'll get your number 43 Dodge Viper and your 2 points. So a very, very simple Horizon Open challenge. Okay, and to wrap up our challenges section almost quicker than we've even started it, we have the Collectibles challenge off with a bang. This will get you 3 points towards your playlist, and the car horn reward fireworks if you want to, sound like you're making a firework when you honk at people, perhaps, in free roam on the Eliminator. So all you need to do for this one is smash 10 firework boxes at the Stadium Lunar Drift Arena. You might be thinking, where's the Stadium Lunar Drift Arena? It's basically just inside the stadium. It's the evolving world kind of creation for the month. The developers have created a drift track or drift arena in the stadium. So head over to where the stadium is on the map. It's pretty much smack bang in the middle above the motorway, above the Street Scene Festival. And you'll see obviously all the drift stuff in there, and then you'll see these little firework boxes. So you can see in the thumbnail of this challenge here, them little fireworks boxes with the fireworks pointing off them. All you need to do is smash through them, and they also include a nice firework sound. So when you smash through each of them, it should make a sound like a firework, or one variety of firework. So smash through 10 of them. There is a tactic that you can do with this one. If you're in Horizon Solo, or you go back into Horizon Solo rather than Horizon Open, you can smash through it, and then you can hit rewind. It'll respawn because it's obviously in Horizon Solo, and then you can smash through it again. And obviously you can do that 10 times, and that will complete it. Because sometimes when you're in a Horizon Online lobby, other players end up smashing them, and then there's not enough for you to actually complete it. So up to you which way you do it, but there are some tactics to get that one completed. Pressing on then, we'll now take a look at the penultimate section of the festival playlist, which is the monthly events, or essentially Series 30's monthly rivals challenges, which, as the name suggests, last for the whole month and can be completed in any of the weeks of the month. So you'll only have to complete them once. You don't need to do it every week. Once you've completed them once, it will complete it for the whole of the series. So it's completely up to you when you choose to do them. But I'll obviously cover them in each week's video, so don't worry about that. But for those of you who'd like to plough on with them this week, we shall go through it now. But before we do, I'll just quickly explain how the points work for these monthlies. So as you can see, you'll get 4 points for completing each event. I've completed 3 of them already, but you can see there for the latter one that I haven't completed, you can see the 4 points there with no tick. So that is the monthly total, and that's what will be added onto your series points count when you've completed each event, and that'll then be split into 4, so divided by 4 to cover the 4 seasons. So you'll actually get 1 point added on to each week's total, so 1 point for summer, for autumn, for winter, and for spring. So obviously with there being 4 events this month, this means that once you've done them all, you'll get 16 points added onto the series total and 4 points added onto each week's seasonal total when they've all been split up across the seasons. So hopefully that makes sense. It may seem complicated, but I'm sure you'll understand it in no time once you've seen it for yourself. Anyway, so this month we have 4 rivals to complete, as I've already said, 2 of them being the normal monthly rivals and the other 2 over here being the Forza EV monthly rivals. And the objective is the same for all of them, so you do of course have to complete each one separately, and hence completing one won't automatically do the trick for them all. However, the objective for all of them is simply to post a clean lap. As you can see here, post a clean lap to complete, and that is the same for all of them. So it sounds pretty simple, it is pretty simple, and as long as you make sure that you don't do any of 3 things, you'll have it completed. So the 3 things that you cannot do are hitting walls or any other non-destructible objects, using rewind, and missing checkpoints or getting your car reset in some other way. So any of those will flag your lap, and that'll leave an exclamation mark next to your time, which means that it will not count as it is classed as dirty. So avoid those things, cruise around at a nice controllable pace, and you'll have no problems. So you don't actually need to beat your rival either, so don't worry about picking, a slow rival so that you beat them. It really doesn't matter. You can just pick the one that it suggests, enter the event, post a clean lap, and once you've done that, you can quit the event, and it should have turned gold in your festival playlist. We have now reached the latter section of our festival playlist for the winter season of Series 30, and for this we're going to be checking out the week's expansion events, which, as you might expect, covers those on the Hot Wheels expansion and the Rally Adventure expansion. So needless to say, you are required to own both of these expansions to access their respective events, and you must additionally reach a certain specified point in their career modes to be granted access to these festival playlist challenges. So you have to do stuff first in the expansions before you can play these festival playlist events. So to be specific, on the Hot Wheels expansion you must unlock the S2 class tier in the campaign, and in the Rally Adventure expansion you must also play through some of the initial gameplay and story before you can start tackling the weekly events. And you'll see that for yourself when you actually start playing them. So if you don't own these expansions yet and you wish to give them a go, you can purchase them as part of the premium add-ons bundle, the expansions bundle, or the Rally Adventure expansion can be purchased separately if you so wish to do so. So to quickly look at the events, we have a seasonal PR stunt and a seasonal championship for each of them. So the PR stunts this week are speed zones. So we've got the Tierras Verdes speed zone and the Treetop speed zone, and they require S1 class Hoonigan. So cars such as the Hoonigan Escort Group A, I've got a tune for that one, so that's probably your best bet, although some people quite like to downgrade the Hoonigan RS200 as well and use that, so that equally that's a good car for you to use for that one, or for those should I say. And then for the seasonal championships we have Very Impressive on the Rally Adventure expansion, and we have Journey of 1,000 Miles on the Hot Wheels expansion. These will get you Horizon Raptors Desert Scarf for the former and a Koenigsegg CC8X 8X8S for the latter, and they'll also get you 5 points each as well. So we have B-Class Subaru. You've seen some of my Subarus already when we've been in my garage, but I can maybe, you know, that they're the ones that you'll need to use for that one because we've seen all of them already. And then S2 class hypercars, things like the McLaren Senna and other stuff like that, the Rimac, the Ultima, etc. They're cars that you'll need to use for that one. So that wraps it up. Okay guys, so that wraps up my festival playlist guide and full walkthrough for the winter dry season of Series 30 Lunar New Year. I sincerely hope you have enjoyed. If you did, it'd be greatly appreciated if you can show your support by liking and subscribing to the channel. Also, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. I'm happy to have a chat with you in the comments, and of course, if you do have any queries or questions or, you know, anything related to the video, as I said at the start and throughout, do not hesitate to contact me in the comments on Xbox or on Discord, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. So I hope you enjoy completing all these challenges. There's some quite nice challenges this week. The EventLabs should be really cool as well, and obviously long awaited Hyundai i30N. I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on that, and obviously with it being teased at the start of the game. So I'll go and sort this warning, inactivity detected warning out. So thank you for watching once again, and I hope to see you in the final guide of the series for spring. Bye!